Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at which classes are optimal for solo PvP. As a primarily solo player myself, I know how hard Ghost War can be with teammates who don't communicate. I also know that there are new people trying it out every day who don't know how each class should be utilized. So I hope this video can help you choose an appropriate class and playstyle to get the most out of your skills. First, I'm going to look at the Assault class. You'll see this a lot in PvP because it's a very strong class. Your passive gives you a 10% damage reduction and slightly improved handling on assault rifles and shotguns. On top of that, your technique, True Grit, gives you another 30% damage reduction, eliminates all recoil for 15 seconds. You can see here it also heals you for 1 full bar after killing an enemy. There are downsides to True Grit, however, as after activating it, you can't shoot your gun for about a second because your character's shaking his head, so don't use it if you are already in combat. Also, enemies will be able to clearly hear your heartbeat, so it's not ideal if you're trying to stay undetected. Finally, you have gas grenades. These are pretty meh. They can be good for getting enemies out of cover sometimes, but I find it usually forces them to another spot behind their cover as opposed to out in the open. Assault is my personal favorite as it's very straightforward and works very well with assault rifles. If you can get the timing down on when to use True Grit, it can be very powerful in large or small skirmishes.
Target down. Only one hostile left standing. One of your teammates is injured. Shit, they see me. Enemies down. Good.
Next is the Medic class. This may be the strongest class in PvP when used correctly. The passive reduction in revive time is nothing to scoff at, and the healing revive drone is also very powerful. Don't be afraid to use it to heal a teammate, or even yourself, who is low and doesn't have any syringes. I almost never see anyone healing teammates with the drone. Instead, they want to save it to revive down teammates, often in situations where they just get killed immediately anyways. Another pet peeve of mine is a medic who revived you with their drone, but just sits in cover and watches you get downed again. Because of the delay between you reviving your teammate and them actually getting up, after using the drone, you can run out and fire off a couple rounds to distract enemies who may be camping the body. Finally, the medkit. Basically, it gives you or your teammate 33% extra health for 2 minutes. Another very powerful perk of the medic class. My only advice is not to use it right at the beginning of the round. Wait until you get into cover in the area where you'll be fighting or guarding. This way, you don't have to waste 10 or 15 seconds of the effect and you don't fall behind your teammates. And if the other team is playing very aggressively, you may not have a chance to move forward at all. This is another class I highly recommend in PvP.
Target eliminated. The surveillance system.
Next is Echelon. Echelon has a couple useful attributes, such as quiet footsteps, which is great when flanking nearby enemies. Also, the sonar vision is obviously very strong. It gives you 15 seconds of basically a wall hack. Enemies within the range will light up red while you have this activated, even if they're behind walls. Keep in mind though, that they are notified when your sonar detects them, so they'll know you're in the area, but with your quiet footsteps, they probably won't hear you coming. There's also a shock pistol. In my opinion, it's not very useful. Why would I draw that when I could just use my gun to do actual damage? Then we have increased pistol damage. On the left side, I'm using Engineer class, and on the right side, Echelon with the extra pistol damage. It took 1 less shot to down the enemy with Echelon, so the damage boost is significant. but hardly anyone actually uses pistols in PvP, so it's not actually that useful. This is another very good class, as the quiet footsteps and sonar vision make it perfect for CQC.
Target down. One enemy left.
Damn, they spotted me.
Sharpshooter class. I have a love-hate relationship with this class. Sometimes they can be huge assets to your team, and other times it feels like you're down a man. The most infuriating thing in Ghost War is when a teammate picks a spot on the map and just sits there the entire round until it's 1v4 and the enemy is activating the surveillance. Then they'll crawl out of cover just to get downed anyways. Usually these players are sharpshooters, as they seem to forget they have a secondary weapon. Don't get me wrong, it's a very strong class. Their technique, Armor Buster, makes any hit a one-shot kill, even in the leg, and the sensor launchers can completely swing a match when used well. It takes a little practice to get used to aiming them, but they're great for when you know an enemy is in a spot, but you can't mark them for your team, or if your teammates are rushing, pop them into common camping spots nearby. A lot of the time, enemies will panic when detected and rush into vision. Also, these sensor launchers have incredible range, so even if your teammates are on the other side of the map, you can help make sure the path is clear for them to move forward. Although I'm not a big sniper myself, I still think this is another great class. Just don't get into the habit of sitting in one spot all around. Help your teammates. Panther class. I find this class is a bit too situational. The cloaking spray is effective at preventing marks, but with a drone, enemies can just ping your location anyways. It can also prevent being marked by the surveillance, but that's pretty rare. Same for cloak and run. It's pretty lackluster, and the big noisy smoke blast gives away your general location anyways. You can blind an enemy for 6 seconds with it, but you'd have to be very close, and I've not once seen that happen. You also get a movement speed boost, but there are plenty of other sources of movement speed you can choose instead, like burst forth and boots. Being able to use silencers without losing 20% damage sounds nice, but I'd rather have 20% reduction in shot spread from my attachment. Also, there's a bug in the game now that can cause wild shot spread on SMGs with silencers when swapping weapons. All in all, not a class that I often use.
Only one hostile left.
Finally, we have Engineer. It seems like this class was created specifically for the raids. Damage to drones is useless in PvP, and the same goes for increased explosive damage. He has a couple intriguing bonuses though. First, the special ammo. Here on the left we have regular ammo, and on the right, special ammo. I can't see much damage increase, if any, from the special ammo. It basically just gives you green tracer rounds. Then he's got his drone. We can see it does a modest amount of damage. Mostly it's just used as a distraction and something to scout nearby hiding enemies. Just keep in mind that the noise will give away your position to enemies. Overall, this is another very weak class for PvP. Breaking it down, in Tier 1, I put Assault. It's an all-round strong set. No gimmicks, just powerful at all ranges. Also Medic. This class makes you tankier and heals and revives teammates. What more could you ask for? In Tier 2, I put Sharpshooter. It can offer great recon all over the map and one-shots enemies. Its main problem is that it relies on picking up items to fulfill its potential. And Echelon. It's the best class in close combat with quiet footsteps and sonar vision, but it offers nothing for mid and long range combat. Tier 3, I put Panther. Again, it's very situational and doesn't offer much that you can't get from perks and other gear attributes. Tier 4 is Engineer. Plain and simple, it's not a class designed for PvP. I hope this video was helpful. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.